Are you ready for some football? Well, here it is. The latest entry in EA's long-running Madden series has arrived, a franchise so established beyond the realm of video games you could call it an institution. But really, that only adds to the challenge of producing a new and more exciting football simulation based on the National Football League, when the source it's based on has stayed relatively the same over decades. And it looks like Madden 26 is suffering from some faint praise. Over at OpenCritic, we can see it's already earned a strong rating, but this is where the nuances of the aggregate system tell a broader story, with the top critic average currently rocking a 79, but here's where it gets interesting. The critics' recommendation is at a much lower 57%, meaning some of the reviews we'll be going over recognize the game's technical and mechanical efforts as quality, but ultimately did not suggest the game to players. In fact, let's start with the low end this time out and see what exactly the harshest critic, in this case Kevin Lopez over at GameSandwich, who gave it a 6 out of 10, had to say. Quote, "Under the hood, EA made a lot of changes to how the gameplay feels between the hashes, with every single hit, catch, and pass feeling more precise and impactful. However, with all those changes being made to the game, there are still lingering issues within it that can't really push the medium forward, such as robotic announcing, bugs, and a lack of true innovation." End quote. One of the highest reviews currently available is GameSpot's Mark Delaney, who ultimately gave Madden 26 an 8 out of 10, and overall had a much more positive experience thanks to the previously mentioned gameplay changes. Quote, "Franchise mode's RPG-like depth makes it feel like the destination mode it should be, and year over year it represents the most dramatic improvement I can recall in the series history. Superstar mode still feels like a work in progress, and Madden Ultimate Team shows no sign of ditching its pay-to-win scheme, but for players like me who are franchise-focused and on-field obsessive, Madden NFL 26 is the game you've been hoping for." End quote. Now, for longtime fans not in the know, that Superstar mode probably stood out. This is an added feature from recent Maddens, which centers on a single NFL player attempting to navigate the challenges of celebrity and the demands of world-class athleticism. With its re-inclusion this year, there had been hope it might finally become a significant part of the package. But unfortunately, it doesn't sound like it's quite there yet, as Kyle Foley from But Why Though says in his 7.5 out of 10 review. Quote, "Superstar mode has a few changes as well, letting players take to the field as their own player and create a Hall of Fame career. Career chapters have been introduced to help players track progress towards their goal. Each chapter is harder to complete, bringing new challenges to be met along the way. It's a cool way of bringing to life the individual stories players create for themselves. The off-field moments are still not great, but this is a hard concept to nail. Conversation choices and goals met can impact relationships. But there is no depth to this." End quote. GamesRadar's Ben Wilson took a more positive review with his 8 out of 10 review, even complimenting the Superstar mode as a component of the game rather than a driving feature. Quote, "You won't play Superstar mode for as long as franchise, but fleshing out the folks in your sphere of influence, from your agent to tattoo artist, adds a neat off-field wrinkle, where every decision has a degree of consequence. Even exhibition games offered myriad variety, with sliders delivering near limitless customization and weather effects so well implemented that those aforementioned snow games make completing one intermediate pass feel triumphant. It's going to get stick because it's EA and it's the NFL, and those premium pass unlocks in Madden Ultimate Team are a little naughty. But Madden 26 is by some margin the series' finest entry in over a decade." End quote. For you Nintendo fans, PJ O'Reilly recently submitted his review for the Switch 2 version at Nintendo Live. And again, like we discussed right at the introduction, one critic's 8 out of 10 could be very different to another critic's. Quote, "Server issues at launch aside, and with the loss of crossplay noted, Madden 26 is a very solid port of one of the best outings for this franchise in recent memory. Yes, you'll need to get used to a drop in the frame rate to 40 frames per second on Switch 2, but it's a reasonable downgrade in order to get this type of game running as well as it does on a portable machine. It really is a very close match in all other ways to other consoles. For newcomers, this is one of the best Madden games I've played in terms of teaching you the ropes, and for the returning hardcore, the improvements on the pitch and with regards to presentation should impress where its predecessor felt a bit lacking." End quote. In short, we're seeing reviews compliment the improvements to the core gameplay, but suggesting the overall experience could see further revamping. Not exactly the most in-depth analysis, but Madden has become such a core part of video games, players are able to feel the differences year to year, no matter how gradual. Some entries focus on offense, others on defense, then there's the graphical leaps and expansion of features. But it sounds like this year, Madden 26 took it back to the field, focusing on the moment-to-moment gameplay. Keep clicking around here at GameRant, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks, everybody.